Hello and welcome to the ABB Formula E Race at Home Challenge. It is Saturday afternoon and this is what the competition has been building towards, our big final weekender. Today is round 7 and it's this time tomorrow that we get to go all over again to finish the series with our grand final. Now, this is our doubleheader weekend and it's also the last chance to raise as much essential funds for Unicef in this global pandemic. So please do donate as you're watching because this is more urgent than ever. Now, I'm Nikki Shields and over the next 2 hours you can expect some brilliant on-track action from both the Formula E grid of the real superstar racing drivers and also some of the world's fastest sim racers on the streets of Brooklyn. Yes, it's New York, New York, so good we race it twice. And the good news is, to help us guide through and maybe he'll even break into song for us, it's time to say hello to our resident expert, 3-time Indy 500 winner, Mr. Dario Franchitti. Dario, how you doing? Talk us through, what can we expect, because this is crunch time, isn't it? I mean, 1 point between Stoffel Vandoorne and Pascal Wehrlein, and then we've got Kevin Siggy in the challenge grid with a 53-point lead. What is going to happen? Because, of course, we've still got 81 points up for grabs.
Well, first of all, there'll be no singing from me, Nikki. I can assure you of that.
It's all right. We've got Jack. We've got Jack later.
Jack might give us
he
a
always
song.
loves a good sing song.
I think in both the real racing grid and the challenge grid, it's come down to this. It's winner takes all. It's going to be an absolutely epic battle tomorrow when it's absolutely all on the line. And you know, it's been a great series to watch how esports has really filled that void, and the race fans' hunger to watch racing. It's great to see the esports drivers, esports fans get involved in more traditional motorsport, and then vice versa. To see the Formula E drivers, the other racers from all out the world, even retired drivers like myself, get involved in esports, and see the traditional motor racing fans watch that too. It's been fantastic.
Absolutely right. Well, at the other end of the scale, he's definitely not anywhere near retirement. We have 17-year-old Axel Laflamme, and definitely the coolest name on the grid. He's joining us now. Axel, please, can you talk to us and tell us a little bit about the journey that you've been on, being part of the Race at Home Challenge, what it's been like? I know you've been documenting it and sharing it. Yeah, tell us, what's it been like for you? Axel, I think you might be on mute, or it could be an issue on my end. I can't hear you. Ah. Dario, can you hear Axel?
No, I can't hear Axel.
No,
either.
You can't. I'm just checking it's not, you know, a little bit hard of hearing at times.
Technology is a wonderful
such a
thing.
shame, Axel. Well, don't worry. We will, yeah, if you have a little play around, Axel, I don't know whether you think... if you think you can take it off mute. If not, if it's not that, we will get you back later. Oh, that's a shame. But we will get to catch up with him a little bit later. In the meantime, a man who might give us a sing-song. Commentator Jack Nichols, fancy it? New York, New York? He doesn't fancy it. He's not coming on.
I was considering it. I was considering
Come
belting out
on.
a little bit, but
You went to dance and drama school, didn't you?
Not dance specific, and not drama school. I just studied it at university.
He loves a bit of drama.
What is this? Let's go back to Axel.
We're ganging up on you because it's the last weekend. So, okay, speaking of, it is the last weekend. It's so sad. But there's so many options going on. But talk us through, Jack, what are your thoughts? I mean, Stoffel Vandoorne, Pascal Wehrlein, what's going to happen?
I think the really interesting thing is Vandoorne's 1 point ahead of Wehrlein in the championship fight. I think that realistically, Max Guenther is out of contention a little bit unless something crazy happens tomorrow. But tomorrow's the big thing with the double points. Yeah, okay, you want to be in front, but you win the race tomorrow, you have 14 points advantage over whatever driver that finishes in second place. So you're guaranteed a 14-point swing if you win the race tomorrow. So they're separated by a point. At the end of this race, they could be separated by 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to need a monumental turn of fortune today for it not to sort of come down to a winner takes all tomorrow. The championship can't be decided today.
Well, that's good, because that'll keep us on our toes. But let's have a quick chat with racing driver from BMW I Andretti, Max Guenther, who I think is actually only a handful of drivers actually still in with a shot at winning the Race at Home Challenge. We're not going to speak to him quite yet. We're going to talk about him first, in fact. What do you reckon Max's chances are? Because, I mean, he had a phenomenal start to this. I think 2 wins, a third place, I think it was in the third race, but no podiums of late. I think he's only got 8 points in the last 3 races. Do you think he can redeem himself back in New York?
Funny, Nikki, that was the stat that I wrote down yesterday. You know, you look at Stoffel van Dorn, 65 points in the last 3 races. Max, the tide is really turning. Racing, like most sports, is momentum driven. He's got to do something today, put a stake in the ground and get that momentum back if he wants to challenge at all for the championship. It's all gone wrong, and he's got involved in accidents, and but the speed has always been there, both on in e-racing and in the real world too. He's been a phenomenal addition to Formula E.
I think it's worth pointing out as well, Nikki, that he wasn't the quickest driver in those first couple of races. Van Dorn was on pole, Wehrlein I think was on one of the poles, and he was there kind of mopping up. He hasn't been the fastest driver at any point this season.
Well, let's hear what he has to say for himself. Maybe he will be today. Let's go over to Max. Hello, Max. How you doing?
Hi, I'm very good, thanks. What about you?
Yeah, we are well, thank you. We've just been having a little chat about you and your season so far. How do you think it's gone? And, you know, the fact that we're now racing back in New York, do you think you can redeem yourself and start to get some more points on the board?
Well, I'm definitely very much looking forward to it. Yeah, the start into the Race at Home Challenge has been very good for me with a few wins and podiums. Then, unfortunately, the last 2 or 3 weekends have been very unlucky, and I didn't score many points. I lost a bit in the championship, but still I'm in contention, even though I'm definitely not the favorite for the crown, let's say, for this weekend. But yeah, everything is still open. I like New York, I like Berlin as well, and yeah, really much looking forward to the upcoming races.
Max, with 2 races in 2 days, how has your focus been this week? Have you been sort of splitting it equally on focusing on Berlin more because there's more points on offer? What's been your plan?
Pretty equal, I would say, but definitely you weigh maybe slightly more on Berlin, as there is just the double amount of points available. But yeah, you know, it's like in real life, you need to always score. It's not only one race where you have to be good, you have to always be on the very top to be up there in the championship, and that's why definitely preparation for both tracks has been as good as possible.
And Max, obviously this is, you know, the final weekend in this challenge, Race at Home. But what are you going to be doing and looking forward to soon? Obviously, we're hoping to be starting to race again. And do you think you'll be kind of doing a little bit of esports on the side as, you know, the Formula E Championship starts up again?
I mean, definitely it was a nice experience, great experience to get a taste of esports in general the last few weeks. And I really enjoyed it. But yeah, definitely I think as soon as the Race at Home Challenge is over, I will not do many more esports races. I will definitely mainly focus on the real life racing with the simulator work together with the team, with all the development work in the background, because it's a very long break for us, and hopefully we return with racing soon. But as soon as we return, we need to be ready and in a good shape, and that's what I'm pushing a lot together with the team, all my engineers, and the entire team to just be in the best possible shape and to keep improving on all areas.
Brilliant, Max. Thanks very much. I know you've got to go and qualify for today, so we will let you go. Thanks for talking to us, and hopefully catch up after the race.
I hope so too. Enjoy watching. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks very much.
Brooklyn in New York City is the venue for round 7 of the ABB Formula E Race at Home Challenge. Just over the Brooklyn Bridge and overlooking the Statue of Liberty is the Red Hook area of Brooklyn, around which is this street circuit. My name is Jack Nichols, Dario Franchitti with me for commentary around the Brooklyn streets, and we're going to have Driver's Grid qualifying coming up first of all, and they will be going out in reverse championship order. This is the championship coming into this weekend, although there's 1 point, I think, between Van Dorn and Wehrlein, rather than the 2 we're showing you there. I believe it's Van Dorn on 105, Wehrlein on 104, and then Guenther is on 73, Roland on 58, Freitz on 48. And as I say, they'll be going out in reverse championship order. There's a point for pole position, there's a point for fastest lap as well. And then all of it happens again tomorrow, where we get going for the double points. A few newcomers this weekend as well, and they'll be out in Group 1. Kelvin van der Linde joins the Audi Sport App Schaeffler team, and Joel Eriksson joins Geox Dragon as well. And we thought we were also going to see Alice Powell out there for Envision Virgin Racing, I believe. So she'll be out too. Oh no, that's just tomorrow, my apologies. So we have got Robin Freitz here. He is only missing tomorrow, not today as well. So then Group 4 will have Gianni Freitz, Roland Guenther, Wehrlein and Van Dorn out in that final group of qualifying. Dario, as ever, one lap opportunity to get it right around New York, which is just as intense in sim racing as real racing. Maybe not quite so.
Maybe not quite as much on the line, Jack, but it seems to me that qualifying is even more important because you've got to be up the front to avoid that first corner crash, and we've just seen so many of those. And the Turn 1 at New York City really lends itself to those big shunts as we saw last weekend.
There is Kelvin van der Linde, the young South African racer who is driving for Audi this weekend as he comes through the dock loop and out onto the back straight. I'm expecting big things from van der Linde. Famous last words, I know, but he's been in a lot of championships over the last couple of weeks and has been often very, very strong. So I'm expecting them to be towards the front of the order. He's done the fastest first sector of anyone.
Okay, so no pressure for Kelvin van der Linde then. That's
yeah.
As he comes through turn 10, turn 9, sorry, down to the hairpin of turn 10. We saw so much action there last weekend. Jean-Eric Vergne, he's had a tough time with the whole Race at Home challenge. He's just not got together with the sim racing stuff at all. I'm not sure he's particularly bothered because he knows when it comes back to the real world, he's double Formula E champion, and he'll be expecting to just go where he left off, right up at the front.
Van der Linde across the line and immediately in with a 1:11.4. Now that is a quick lap time. You'll see everybody else in this first group is going to be a little bit away from that. Bird only 0.4 away, but I'm expecting pole position to be an 11.0 or an 11.1, I would have thought. So Van der Linde has booked himself, I would predict, a place in the top 10, maybe even the top 5, as Alexander Sims comes over the line in 3rd position, and the first 6 drivers have completed their laps. Joel Eriksson must have made a mistake because he's 3.5 seconds off the pace of Kelvin van der Linde as Sims comes through the right-hander and onto the back straight. So we'll then see our next group of cars head out onto the circuit in a couple of moments' time. A reminder, after this we'll have the challenge race, which will be for some of the top sim racers and invited guests, and then we will have the drivers grid race after that, about 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so after that.
One thing to bear in mind, Jack, compared to a normal race weekend, we get track evolution. The guys in the first group are really at a disadvantage. That's not so with the program that this is all based on. So same track conditions for everybody, as we see Nick de Vries really trying to get some heat into the tyres. That's as important as in real life, to get heat into tires. Nick's had a few penalties, shall we say, the last couple of races. He's been he's had a few grid penalties for hitting people and stuff like that. He's been quite aggressive, and he hasn't gelled with it as well as I thought he would. I thought he was going to be one of those guys that would be right up there, like Stoffel van Dorn, Pascal Wehrlein.
Yeah, agreed. But alas, not been the case for Nick de Vries. He's out in the second group of qualifying, along with Sebastian Buemi, Felipe Massa, Martin Roy, Jerome D'Ambrosio and Lucas de Grassi. There's a bit of a slide through 12 and 13 for Nick de Vries. There's Felipe Massa coming out of 9 and down into the hairpin at 10, trying to get some temperature into those rear tyres as he comes through the hairpin there, swinging the car around. There he is in the bottom right, Felipe Massa.
You'll notice that the guys that are quick, Jack, they really sort of, they yaw the car around, they slide the back of the car a lot more than you would normally do in real life. And some of the guys have struggled. Again, Lucas Di Grassi is one of those drivers that just hasn't got to grips with it. And it's, I think there's a certain amount of frustration there.
He's half a second down in Sector 1 on Kelvin van der Linde, is Lucas Di Grassi. Big slide through the left-right at the end of the straight, then clips the wall, so looking like a bit of a messy middle sector as well. We're on board with the Brazilian.
That wasn't what I was talking about. It was that you used the rear of the car to rotate it round the corner, not into the wall, which Lucas did there, but again, easier said than done. And if you use the wall too much, the wall riding, as it's known, then you get penalties. And a lot of guys were wall riding out of this next corner, this last corner coming up, turn 14, last week, and some penalties were issued because of that. As Nick de Vries comes out of 14, a long, fast left-hander. Let's see where this puts him, Jack.
1 minute 11.8 for de Vries, so he slots into second place, just 1,000th of a second quicker than Sam Bird. De Grassi goes up into 7th, 2 seconds away. De Vries was quicker in the final sector than van der Linde, which was a good effort. Marcin Hua goes into 4th place. Mitch Evans starts his flying lap. Good lap from Sebastian Buemi. The Swiss slots into 2nd, and that's a good effort. Massa goes 5th, just ahead of Ma, and the next group of cars making their way out onto the circuit then. So good effort there from Buemi, I would say. He's going to be up towards the sharper end.
He's got to be happy with that, hasn't he? He's scored some points recently, nothing earth-shattering, I would say, but he's got to be happy with that lap, Jack. Absolutely, that's going to get him up into that area, and if there's some mistakes at the start, he can really get through it all, get up to the front.
There's Andre Lotterer on his outlap now for the Porsche team.
And he was on the podium in the test race.
Yeah.
Just hasn't sort of come back to that level of form that he had. Antonio de Felix da Costa, our championship leader in the real world, he's really struggled with the whole thing. But I think he's got the pace now. I have to say, I think to start with, you say, yeah, he wasn't there. Now I think he's got the pace. He's had some decent results, and he might finish with a flourish this weekend, especially with the double points being raced tomorrow.
Da Costa then out of the hairpin. As you say, been gradually improving over the course of the weeks, Da Costa. And then coming through the final right and left and out across the line. We'll see whether any of them can get up there to match Kelvin van der Linde. Here's James Collado down into turn 1. Tucks it into the left-hander, then through the long sequence of rights at 2, 3, 4, 5, and back out onto the back straight, where we'll get his first sector split in a couple of moments' time. There you see Collado in the bottom right. His first sector is 2/10 away from van der Linde.
Yeah, the timing loop is right in the middle of the braking zone, so you can cheat it a little bit. If you miss your braking point, you're going to have the most spectacular first sector, but your second sector is not going to work out so well, and you don't get any points or any start position advantage for having a quick first sector. He looked good through there, James Collado. I think these cars are actually, you can hear them occasionally using the gearbox 2-speed, which is unusual, and the real-world Formula E cars are now really pretty much direct drive, 1 gear. So that's taken a bit of getting used to for some of the drivers again, having to use the gearbox. Yeah, Mitch Evans is not going to be happy with that, Jack.
No, very scruffy, brushes the wall on the exit as well. There he comes through the final corner. I think van der Linde's pole position time is going to be safe for now. Evans goes 7th, fractionally slower than his teammate James Collado. Across the line now comes Antonio Felix da Costa, and it's 6th place for him. Mortara, Turvey and Lotterer still to cut the timing beam. Good middle sector from Mortara, and he slots up into 3rd place, 2/10 away from van der Linde. And then Lotterer goes into 7th. Oliver Turvey, the last driver across the line in the Neo 333. And he goes 9th place for Oliver Turvey. So it's still van der Linde and Buemi locking out the front row. But how much is that going to change when our big guns, I suppose, come out? Van Dorn, Wehrlein, Guenther, Roland, Gianni and Freitz. And I would say, Dario, in the sim world, we have almost more of a proper order than it, because real life Formula E is so unpredictable and so sort of like you never know who's going to be quick from week to week. But in the sim world, it kind of feels like a regular championship where you could take a guess
Jack,
who's going to be on
this
pole.
is worrying. This is very worrying, because that's exactly what I was just thinking. It's like normally you just go, yeah, we don't know who's going to be quickest today, to be honest. Whereas now you could say this, that Van Dorn, Wehrlein, to a degree, Max Guenther, you know they're going to be up there, and that makes it harder for those behind to close the gap, no matter if it's double points or not tomorrow, because these are the guys, again, Van Dorn, Wehrlein, who are scoring the big points. And it's, I think it says a lot about Formula E that in reality that every week we go into it going, yeah, we don't know. We don't know who's going to be quick.
Yeah. Here comes Wehrlein on his outlap now. The German Mahindra racer. Van der Linde still on provisional pole at the moment on an 11.4, but these drivers were doing 11.1s in practice. But it's all about whether you can hook it up when qualifying really matters. That's something I want. Dario, in real racing, certainly in, let's say, Formula 1 and Formula E, less so Formula E because of the qualifying format, I suppose. But most of the time, the fastest lap time of the weekend is pole position. Whereas in sim racing, you get so many goes at doing a flat-out run that you almost know exactly the fastest lap time that there is, and it's whether you can match that. Whereas it feels like in a sort of a regular series, you have to go beyond the fastest you've ever been to be on pole.
Yeah, absolutely, Jack. And some of that is the track evolution. There's more rubber on the track. You know, you take as
Yeah.
much fuel as possible out of the car. The engine's turned up to its maximum. Everything is just ready for that one lap. But as you say, a lot of those things don't happen in sim racing, and you can go again and again and again. And how many times? I mean, you sim race multiple times more than I do. How many times have you practice when you're on your own? That's when you're you do that flying lap that you can never replicate when the pressure's on.
Yeah, tell me about it. Fourth for Robin Freins, 4/10 of a second away from Van der Linde. Guenther goes into third place, slower than Sebastian Buemi, so Buemi's done a good lap here. Roland across the line, his teammate goes into fourth place, 2/10 adrift of Van der Linde. What can Van Dorn and Wehrlein do? Van Dorn goes fourth, so it looks like, unless Pascal Wehrlein or Neil Jarni can stop him, we're going to have a debutant on pole position in the form of
Not
Kelvin
so
Van der Linde.
fast. Look at Wehrlein's middle sector.
Wehrlein, it's very quick, and he goes 2/10 clear of Van der Linde. Jarni goes sixth, but Pascal Wehrlein, well, that pulls him level on points in the championship with Stoffel Van Dorn, with Van Dorn starting fifth on the grid. That's one step towards the Formula E Race at Home Challenge in support of Unicef for Pascal Wehrlein, I'd say.
2.75 tenths essentially. That's a massive. You can hear the gauntlet being thrown down from Pascal Wehrlein. Is saying, right, come on, you want this championship? Come on, let's see what you got. And for Van Dorn, fifth on the grid, Jack. That's danger territory there. You're not only worried about the guys coming from behind and hitting you at the first corner, but getting caught up in the guys in front of you is wrecked too. It's not where he wants to be.
So Wehrlein with his second pole position of the Formula E Race at Home Challenge pulls himself level with Stoffel Van Dorn on points at the top of the standings, and he's going to start on pole position for the challenge grid for the drivers grid a little bit later on. First up, we're going to have the challenge grid, which will be the sim racers and invited guests that'll be competing, and they are competing for their grid position, whether to be on the grid and in what position to start for the championship finale for them tomorrow, which the winner will get a drive in a real-world Formula E car. But it is Pascal Wehrlein that has secured pole position. He's only had one race this year that he has not been on the podium. That was round 2 in Monaco. He was third in Hong Kong, one in Electric Docks and then Hong Kong again, third in Berlin, second in New York a week ago, and now he has secured pole position. We will see, which is quite a feather in his cap, I have to say, because Eduardo Mortara got a pole in the wet Hong Kong, but apart from that, it's only been Van Dorn and Wehrlein that have shared the pole positions. And I think the other thing, Dario, is that you've got Kelvin van der Linde in there. You've got Buemi as well, who's not a title protagonist at all. And those, Wehrlein's got buffers between he and Van Dorn and Guenther.
Yeah, absolutely, Jack. And as you say, they've got nothing to lose. They're not thinking, I've got to score some points for tomorrow. They're just in there. They're thinking, I can actually win a race and not be at the back in one of the race at home challenge races. So their mindset is completely different, and that is the advantage that Pascal Wehrlein has just given himself is quite incredible, and he's put the pressure firmly back on Stoffel Van Dorn. That lap is just, as I say, just ramped the pressure up, and we'll see the same thing happen tomorrow when we're racing in Berlin, and we'll see if it goes back the other way. A lot to play for this afternoon.
Let's hear from him. Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear from him. Nicky Shields.
Well, Pascal Wehrlein back on pole position. Pascal, obviously, you proved to be one of the most talented sim drivers in Formula E in this challenge. But what do you think it's actually going to take for you to secure the overall win this weekend? And we can't ignore the fact that Stoffel Van Dorn, your biggest rival, is down in 5th.
I think, hi everyone. So I think, first of all, qualifying is important always. But, for me, it feels like tomorrow is the more important part because tomorrow you get double points. So today is just, bringing the car home, hopefully score some good points. But like I said, tomorrow is double points. So that's quite difficult.
So does that mean you've been putting a bit more practice in on the Berlin track?
Yeah, I've had some filming with Lucas this week. So we did a couple of laps, but let's see. I think in Berlin it was not so good in the past. I don't know where I finished. I think I finished 3rd, but Stoffel was really strong there. New York is a good track for me, but you have to finish first.
Excellent. Oh, well, good luck. And always good to get some tips from those real sim racing triumphants, Lucas Miller. Thanks very much, Pascal Wehrlein. Right, now let's take a look at our final driver grid classification results.
Thank you, Nicky. Good to hear from Pascal Wehrlein, still with the focus on tomorrow, of course. But he will start on pole position for round 7 of the Formula E Race at Home Challenge in support of Unicef. Wehrlein there, 3/10 pretty much ahead of Van der Linde and Sebastian Buemi. Guenther in 4th, Stoffel Van Dorn in 5th. Roland Mortara, De Vries, Bird and Jani will start in the points-paying positions, but will they be there come the end? We will be back in a couple of minutes with the challenge grid race, and then the drivers grid race will be coming up after that. But before then, there is a new challenge going on social media to raise funds for Unicef. Hashtag race donate nominate. Let's see who's been getting involved.
I'm always up for a challenge, so I've just run the equivalent of New York City, which is our circuit we race on in Brooklyn, 2.3k in 8 minutes 30, so not too bad. Could have been a little bit faster, but still good. It's for a good cause. I'm about to donate towards Unicef, and I'm going to tag 3 people to do the same.
I'm ready to run a lap of the Berlin track. Make sure to take part and donate to the Race at Home Challenge in support of Unicef. So I nominate Gary, Carlos and Albi.
Also make sure to take part and donate to the Race at Home Challenge in support of Unicef. That's it. That was a great run. So now it is your turn.
Well, there we go. Get out, go for a run and nominate someone who you want to get involved. Do notice, though, that there was a missing Jack Nicholls and Daria Franchitti from that video, if you do want to nominate them. Right, so now it's time to switch to our challenge grid to find out who is the best of the sim racers today.
best sim racers have come together.
Oh, someone's firing it in there. Side by side, Muller and Pev. Some robust racing.
In a battle to win the challenge grid.
Kevin Siggy takes the victory. Great win for Kevin Siggy, extends his championship lead. Another dominant win from the BMW driver.
Can anybody catch the pace-setting Kevin Siggy?
Great drive from Joshua Rogers, and he takes the victory. Peo Pev across the line to win the challenge race.
Wehrlein is looking very strong here indeed.
What a great move from Lucas Muller. A win on the streets of Hong Kong.
The prize, a BMW C2 entry and a drive in Formula E car.
And the race is underway.
Today is the last chance to gain points.
Rogers up into third.
And book the best start position.
Muller has got the job done.
For the winner-takes-all grand final.
The ABB Formula E Race at Home Challenge is in Brooklyn, New York this weekend for a race around the virtual track at Red Hook. My name is Jack Nichols. Alongside me is Dario Franchitti, Indy 500 winner 3 times. And there is Lady Liberty, who overlooks this race circuit in the real world. And it's been brilliantly built by Studio 397 and R Factor 2 for the race event in the ABB Formula E Race at Home Challenge. This is going to be the challenge grid. Some of the top sim racers and invited guests competing around the circuit, and their championship positions at the end of this race will decide the grid for tomorrow. At the moment, it's Kevin Siggy that is at the top of the standings, Peo Pev in second, but really it's that battle for this front row of the grid for tomorrow's race in Berlin that's going to be the intense one. Pev, Muller and Wehrlein separated by just 5 points. Joshua Rogers a little bit further back in 5th with Jan van der Heide in 6th position. So they are going to be heading out onto the track before too long. But Dario Franchitti, let's take a look at this New York City E-Prix circuit.
Yeah, 2.3 kilometers, Jack, 14 turns, but really crammed into a very small area. The first thing they're going to have to contend with is turn 1. Quite a wide entry, a wide braking zone, but it really narrows up unbelievably. And we saw so many incidents both in the challenge grid and the driver's grid last weekend.
Yeah.
The next pinch point.
We saw drivers getting penalties for that, didn't we? It seems like a really difficult one to judge at that first corner.
I think it always is, but it's just because they see that it narrows down in a hurry, and then you go through this combination of 3 right-handers. You've got to come off turn 4 and 5 very well, because it's this long straight up to another pinch point in 6 and 7. You've got to rotate the car here. This is where the sim racers do such a good job of rotating the car using the brakes. Bumpy turn 9, and then into the very tight hairpin. We saw all kinds of action there last weekend in turn 10, the hairpin. Both entry, middle, and exit. Short straight to the right-hander of turn 11. Then a quick flick through 12 and 13. Long left-hander, one of my favourite corners in Formula E, with a bump in the middle through 14. Get a good exit out of there. Don't wall ride, though, all the way up to the finish line. And that, Jack, is a lap of New York City.
Thank you very much, Dario. Looking forward to seeing these challenge grid racers take to the circuit. Joining us for the challenge grid is esports specialist Luke Crane. Luke, what's been going on in the qualifying session for these sim racers?
Well, it's the last chance to qualify for tomorrow's grand final, and well, as per usual, the lower drivers in the championship and the newer drivers are indeed off first. So Group 1, we had Oscar Benzes, who went fastest with a 1:11.684, followed very closely by Moritz Lerner, who's a Williams esports driver. He did a 1:11.9. Then in Group 2, Alistair Irvine, showing serious pace, getting better week in, week out. He did a 1:11.471 from Group 2, and he actually went momentarily fastest. Then Scott Sovic did a 1:11.8. He was second fastest from Group 2, but only in 3rd position overall. And then we have got ourselves the Rogers battle, the Muller battle, and the Wehrlein battle. But it was all about Siggy, and with that usual pace, he always shows it wasn't quite good enough today, because Lucas Muller took pole position.
Yep, very impressive performance from Muller. Peo Pev could only manage in 6th place. Oscar Benzes is in 11th position. Marius Gollenbeck in the top 10 there, just behind Nuno Pinto. We've got Scott Servic, the Norwegian, lining up in 13th on the grid. Nick Jacobs is 15th, just behind Cem Bolokbasi. And then we've got Lerner in 16th spot on the grid. Valton's 19th. 10th for Ye Yifei, a real world racer, the Chinese driver in 20th on the grid, just ahead of Sophia Flörsch. And then I think in 22nd, it's actually going to be Sergio Jimenez, the reigning Jaguar I-Pace champion, as opposed to Valton's. I think that's an error there. Charlie Martin, 23rd, and Axel Laflamme, with a grid penalty, lines up in 24th place. Here we go then, the challenge grid about to get underway. It's Lucas Muller on pole, Kevin Siggy alongside him on the front row of the grid as they go charging down towards turn one. Good initial traction there from Kevin Siggy in the BMW. Can he get to the inside on the run into the first corner? Thinks about it, but Muller just about covers it off. Josh Rogers gets a little bit out of shape. He's in a third place. Everybody cleanly through the first couple of turns. Rogers in third. Arjun Maini is up into fourth position. Sorry, Kush Maini's up into fourth position. Peter Berliak is fifth. Pev, Hitz, Irvine, Pinto and Golombek, the rest of the top 10 as we come down towards the left-hander. And for Kevin Siggy, Luke, he's going to finish at the top of the championship. He's going to be on pole position for tomorrow's race. It kind of doesn't matter what he does here today.
Well, yeah, so it doesn't matter, but this is an opportunity for Muller to get into his head. You know, getting one over on the championship leader as it stands, or, you know, the battle for that pole position tomorrow. If Muller could get the job done here today, Siggy's going to have to rethink his plan again and think, well, what do I need to do extra here to get the job done tomorrow? Even though he's been so dominant, you know, the psychological side of sim racing is huge, and Muller right now is doing a great job of putting a little bit of doubt into Siggy's mind.
Few movements further back as Golombek, I think, was having a bit of a fight there. We're watching Ben Hitz running in 7th position, which is a good performance actually from Ben Hitz to be running that far up the order. So far, he's usually sort of in the fights for the elimination positions, is Ben Hitz, although he's had sort of 4 points positions in the first 4 races, but hasn't scored points in the last 2. At the end of each lap, the last place driver will be eliminated, which at the moment is Axel Laflamme. We're on board here with Cem Bolak-Bassi in 12th position, trying to get past Nick Jacobs in 11th spot.
Yeah, we're on board with Cem Bolak-Bassi here. And talking about people like Ben Hitz, Jack, we've got Cem Bolak-Bassi on 12 points here. Ahead of him then is Ben Hitz, only 3 points ahead. And then ahead of him is Nick Jacobs. And then ahead of them is Jacob Reed. So there's only really 8 points separating sort of 4 or 5 positions on the grid tomorrow. And as you know, qualifying is huge within these races, and getting that grid position is absolutely vital. So a big result today can really, you know, give you a better chance at a really good result tomorrow.
Oh, there's a bit of collisions further back. Alistair Irvine in 10th place, the mechanical engineering student from Warwick University, running in 10th spot, the final points paying position. But Jacobs, Bolak-Bassi, Pinto and Rovers all getting into one another as they try and find some pace to get the final points paying position. There you can see Nick Jacobs in his Nissan Edam shirt. Bolak-Bassi sends it around the outside straight into the wall, and that's that for Cem then on lap 3 of 15. Axel Laflamme is last at the moment, so he's probably going to be the first driver to be eliminated if he hasn't been so already at the end of this lap. Kevin Muller. Nico Muller still leading. Oh my goodness, I'll get it right one of these days. Lucas Muller still leading the way, 0.7 of a second ahead of Kevin Siggy in second. Josh Rogers third, Maini fourth, Berliak in fifth. And once again, we're going side by side further back as we go on board with Noah Rovers in the Mercedes.
Yeah, Noah Rovers here trying to hold Marcus Keller up, but also trying to go forward here as well. But we just saw there Cem Bolak-Bassi unfortunately going off circuit, which is really good news for Golombek. So Golombek currently is only 2 points behind Bolak-Bassi for tomorrow's grid, so he could jump ahead of him here with this result as it stands. So that's huge for tomorrow.
Marcus Keller a little bit robust coming into the port area as he now swings through the left-hander. Down the start-finish straight again. This time it'll be Charlie Martin that's eliminated. So Laflamme and Martin both out on the first couple of laps. Here's the battle at the front, though. Kevin Siggy just 0.3 of a second back from Lucas Muller at the moment. Onto the brakes, into the left-hander. Josh Rogers is there, keeping his eye in. And I don't think Rogers, with this position, it might get him ahead of Peo Pev, you know, but I think he's going to be a bit too far back to be really challenging the front couple of rows.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle here for Rogers. You are correct, though. But again, it's all about getting a psychological advantage at this point. You know, you may not be able to gain a position on the grid for tomorrow, but if you can finish ahead of your direct competitors for tomorrow, they've got that in the back of their heads there. You can work on that. And you were talking about Siggy closing the gap here, but Muller seems to have sorted out now. A little bit of pressure, and Muller, again, like he did in qualifying, showing the serious pace that he does possess.
Yeah, Kevin Siggy absolutely dominated here in New York a week ago, but it's Lucas Muller that has the advantage here. You wonder whether Siggy's focus has been more focused on the Berlin circuit that we've got coming up tomorrow, because the championship order at the end of this race decides the grid for the one-time shootout that comes tomorrow. There we see Muller and Siggy heading down the back straight and down into the left-hander again. 0.7 of a second further back is that man there, Josh Rogers, the Australian, swinging it through the right-hander and out towards the left-hander now of 9. We go on board with Rogers. It's been disappointing for him, I would say, that he hasn't managed to be available for the whole of the season, but he's going to be there in the grand final when it matters, I suppose.
Yeah, it just goes to show the level this driver's at, because he's in multiple different competitions at the very top of the esports spectrum. So yeah, it's crazy to see him performing at the top level, right at the sharp end of the grid in multiple competitions. So great stuff from him. But not only is there a battle at the front here, Jack, we've got 7 drivers today who could potentially score their 1 point and qualify for tomorrow's final as well, but none of them are quite in the points-paying positions right now. So we've got Sergio Jimenez, Yi Yifei, Axel Laflamme, who's unfortunately already out here, and so's Jimenez. Moritz Lerner, Marcus Keller is probably the closest right now. He's currently in P14, needs to get the hurry up here. We've got Scott Sovic and Oscar Benzes. So those drivers, they just need to get into the points, but it's not looking too good for them right now.
No, quite a way adrift of Alistair Irvine, who's running in that 10th position. Here we're looking at Scott Servic in the slidey Venturi, trying to chase down Ye Yafei, who's in the Neo 333 car. And they come out through the right-hander, out onto the back straight again after the dock loop. Muller's pulled away a 0.6 of a second gap now over Siggy, and if anything, it's Rogers that is closer to Siggy than Siggy is to Muller. But here comes Yet. Having a reasonable run in his second challenge grid outing, I believe, of the season so far. There is Josh Rogers now, just half a second or so behind Kevin Siggy. One thing catching, yes, another thing passing as we come across the line to start lap 7.
Yeah, absolutely, very, very technical, narrow circuit here. And if anything, Siggy's now under a lot more pressure from behind. So if there's an opportunity for Rogers, Rogers is going to take it. We've seen him be very, very aggressive, very respectful, but very aggressive with his overtaking opportunities. He's actually got his race victory by being aggressive near the end of the race in round number 4, I believe. But Muller, his eyes are going to be lit up in there. He's going to have a smile like a Cheshire cat right now and hoping that these two do battle behind so he can just sail off into the sunset and take a race victory here.
Muller almost a second ahead, on board with Josh Rogers. There you see him again in the bottom right, through the left-hander of 9, down towards the hairpin of 10. Muller takes a very wide, it's the same with Hong Kong. So many of these drivers take really late apexes into the hairpins, and sometimes it looks like they've gone in too deep. But I think it's, that's a bit too much curb there from Josh Rogers, and all his momentum is gone for the moment. He's now 1.3 seconds back from Siggy.
Yeah, absolutely, a huge mistake there, and probably got some damage to the car as well. But if ever I've known some, if my experience of racing, never tell a Muller how to take a corner. They're pretty adept with corners.
Nick Jacobs running in 11th place. 12th is, 10th is Alistair Irvine. 12th is Nuno Pinto. Pinto in the DS Techeetah there, right up behind. They're all queued up behind Alistair Irvine, who's looking to bag a point with a 10th place finish, which would be a good performance from him. Nick Jacobs we're on board with, trying to pass Irvine.
Yeah, Irvine showed unbelievable defensive ability. That's kind of been his strength in this championship thus far. 1 point's not going to be enough for him to jump up a position here. Arjan Veltens then is on 4 points, and is Alistair Irvine. So he needs to gain at least one more position here, or indeed he could get the fastest lap. So that is also another option here. But while you're being stuck in traffic, that's very, very unlikely indeed. But he's just trying to keep cars behind him right now and not really looking to go forward.
It's
a bit of a sandwich here, though.
Lukas Müller leading the way. Second ahead of Kevin Siggy. Müller always used to race in Wehrlein's car because he was a bit of a fan of Pascal Wehrlein. And now he's getting messages from Dilbag Gil, the team principal, saying good luck for the weekend. And he's getting the kit. Is that I think that might be the first time we've seen him with a Mahindra shirt. I think that got delivered to him this week, Lukas Müller, representing the Mahindra team. And he now comes into the hairpin of turn 10. And then he and Pascal had a bit of a training session the other day as well, which was pretty cool. So the two German drivers, Müller from Heidelberg, just near the Hockenheim ring. That 9 of 15.
Good thing about both drivers, though, Jack, is they're very similar paced. You know, real-life driver, sim racing driver, so they probably would have genuinely helped each other with the training they've had here. You know, it is Müller's idol. Now they're like best friends. It's really crazy to see, you know, what we're able to achieve within the sim racing world and blur those lines a little bit more. But yeah, just seeing like Lukas Müller's smile throughout the last few weeks has been incredible. But you know, smiles are great, but look at this performance here right now. 1.2 seconds now in the lead of Siggy, and this, you know, again, doesn't really make too much difference in terms of pole position. Of course, we know Siggy will start from the front, but again, getting into Siggy's head, this is huge.
I remember Müller saying that if he was Kevin Siggy, he'd be scared about this weekend. So I'm not sure if that was fighting talk or a bit of a mistranslation, but that's what Lucas said. We're seeing Nuno Pinto, the Portuguese, in the bottom right, holding on to 13th place at the moment and trying to attack Cem Bolok-Bassi in front into 9.
Benzes has to get a job done here soon as well. Currently down in P14. Looks like he's a bit far off the pace to get up into that top 10. But again, Benzes is really the only one left, and Keller's too far off the pace with a chance to qualify for tomorrow's final, which is a shame that none of them have managed to get into that top 10. But it is what it is. It just goes to show that, you know, the drivers that keep qualifying week in, week out, they are just so competitive, and they are just so good. Just so good, really.
Absolutely. Really, really high level in this ABB Formula E Race at Home Challenge in support of Unicef. This is the challenge grid. The real racers will be out in 4 laps time as we see Nuno Pinto working the wheel, still running in 13th position. We've had Sophia Flörsch eliminated, Scott Servik eliminated, Yaya Fay, Noah Roivers, Veltons, Lerner. And it looks as though the other Mahindra of Marcus Keller will be the next driver to get eliminated. Alistair Irvine is ahead. No, he's holding on to 10th position ahead of Nick Jacobs. Jacobs trying everything he can on board with the Nissan in 11th place. There you see Alistair Irvine in the bottom right. He's doing everything he can to hold off some proper sim racers behind. Jacobs, Bolok-Bassi, Pinto and Benzes. And Bolok-Bassi sees the advantage and seizes it. And he's now up into 11th position ahead of Nick Jacobs.
Yeah, Irvine again showing his defensive ability, frustrating drivers behind him, and then you've got someone who's as ruthless as Cem Bolok-Bassi getting the job done at the first time of asking. But again, it's just Irvine. Irvine again had no idea what esports was really before this, but just natural talent sometimes shines through. Again, not really looking to go forward in this race, but indeed his defensive work's been brilliant. And again, we're seeing a potential mistake in towards the hairpin there, not quite working out. But Cem Bolok-Bassi makes that position. Next up then for Alistair Irvine to defend from. And actually these two have been going at it for the last 3 weeks, to be fair.
Yeah, certainly have. Down the back straight, Müller still leading. It will be Keller that is eliminated. Irvine still holding on to that 10th position. Bolok-Bassi right behind. Then Jacobs, Pinto and Benzes. On board again with Bolok-Bassi. The driver who's in Istanbul at the moment, living at home after spending a couple of years in Germany studying, and then he's moved back to Turkey now at the current time, but wants to come back over to, I say back over to Europe, but sort of to mainland Europe, let's say. And he was meant to be competing in a GT4 category this year, but obviously that hasn't worked out for him as he comes through the final corner to start the penultimate lap of the race with Lucas Müller still leading.
Yeah, Benzes, again, the only one who really has an opportunity to get that qualifying done for tomorrow at the last time of asking, but he really wants to hope that these guys have a bit of an accident here. Making 4 overtakes is nigh on impossible around a circuit like this. Making 1 overtake is nearly impossible, if we're going to be completely honest. But actually, it looks like he is done. Keller, sorry, is done. But Benzes is now eliminated, unfortunately. So we will not have any new drivers getting themselves through here. But again, Cem Bullock-Bassi is going to try and get the job done on Irvine. And Irvine has made that Formula E twice as wide now for 3 weeks in a row. And it's just been super impressive.
Into the left-hander of 9. Muller's lead now 1.6 seconds ahead of Kevin Siggy. Now into the hairpin right, and Bullock-Bassi goes to the outside, then tries to get the cut back towards 11, but he just can't quite get on the power enough. And Irvine is driving very cleanly indeed. Muller still leading, Siggy second, Rogers third, Miney fourth, Berliak fifth. Pev hits Golombek Reed at the top 9, and then it is this battle for 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th as they flash through the right-hander out onto the start-finish straight again to start their penultimate lap of the race. So I think I called that wrong last time. I think Muller had already started his penultimate lap. Now they're on their penultimate lap. Muller out in front, a second and a half up the road. Pinto is now eliminated, and I think that's the end of our eliminations, isn't it? So these drivers will get to the end, but in what order? Who will get that final point?
Oh, I don't know. It's going to be super, super close. My money is on Irvine right now. He's just shown his defensive abilities week in, week out. Someone we've not spoken about, though, Jack, is Miney. Like, Kush Miney has come out of nowhere, really, in terms of pace. Last week had a really good finish, bagging 9 points. And today, in a P4, just getting faster and faster. Maybe tomorrow's final comes a little bit too quickly for him to be able to potentially get the job done. But definitely a dark horse to look out for.
That smile on Lucas Muller's face was huge, wasn't it? He's starting the final lap of the race now. 1.5 seconds ahead of Kevin Siggy, and Alistair Irvine's in carnage. Nick Jacobs has got through up into 10th place. Bullock-Bassi has passed him as well. So all of a sudden on the penultimate lap, Alistair Irvine drops down to 12th position. Still a valiant drive, a valiant effort. But I think that is not going to be enough. This is going to book Lucas Müller a place on the front row of the grid for the grand finale of the ABB Formula E Race at Home Challenge Grid tomorrow afternoon. Same time tomorrow, by the way. So in 24 hours, we will know who will be the champion. Kevin Siggy will start on pole. Lucas Müller will be alongside him on the front row of the grid. Here comes the 19-year-old from Heidelberg through the final 2 corners. And it is going to be a win in New York for Lucas Müller, and second on the grid for the grand final tomorrow. He does the Vettel finger. He takes the victory. Good drive from Müller. Nearly knocks his steering wheel off the books that he's got. The bottom mount on his steering wheel's broken, so he's put 2 school books underneath and clamp them on that way. 10th place is going to be Nick Jacobs. Cem Bullock-Bassi 11th, 12th for Alistair Irvine after a good fight. A point for Jacobs, 9th for Jacob Reed. Like you say, really good drive from Miney to finish ahead of Berliak and Pev. Very, very strong performance there. But it is Lucas Müller who takes the win. It feels like all the focus has been on Müller to a certain degree in the week. He was in the official Formula E press conference. He's been racing with Pascal Wehrlein, but it is still Siggy who's going to be the favourite coming into this weekend. And I think it's worth pointing out that Siggy wrapped up the title, in inverted commas, last week. So I can't imagine he's done much practice for this race, this week. Luke?
I don't know. I think he probably would have done. I don't think he would have taken his eye off the ball. Like, to be at the very top, you can't do that. You can't really let your for the lack of a better term, pardon the pun, take your foot off the gas. Like, you have to just be relentless. You have to be ruthless at this level, which is what Lucas Muller showed today. I think it sets it up for a very interesting race tomorrow, Jack. Of course, we know that anything can happen through turn one as well. So yeah, it sets us up beautifully for the finale tomorrow.
Muller started doing the donuts. Can't think of a more appropriate place to be doing donuts. Lucas Muller, the winner, 1.2 seconds ahead of Kevin Siggy in second place. Josh Rogers in third. Kushmaini just finished 0.6 of a second ahead of Peter Berliak, but that's a really strong performance from Kushmaini. Certainly the best real world driver performance we've seen over the course of the season. Peter Berliak in fifth, Pev in sixth, Ben Hitz in seventh. Golenbeck, Reed and Nick Jacobs completing the top 10 point scorers. Bollock Bassi missing out after he went wide at turn one, and Alistair Irvine, after a valiant battle, only ended up in 12th place. Then we had our eliminated drivers. Axel Laflamme and Charlie Martin were out first of all. Jimenez and Flörsch missing out, as well as Scott Servick and Yaya Fay. So now we can hear from the top three with Nicky Shields.
Well, Lucas Muller, I think justice was served this time for you in New York. Clean start, got the job done, and it means you will be starting tomorrow on the front row. Pretty exciting stuff.
Yes, I mean, good race. Kevin was really fast, so I'm really sweating, but I'm enjoying it.
Well, you're sweating about it now. What is going to happen tomorrow? Because it is you and Kevin Siggy on the front row in the grand final on the streets of Berlin.
I mean, I don't care to finish P2. I want to finish P1, so I'll have my go tomorrow and try to win the race in Berlin.
Excellent, brilliant, thanks very much. Kevin Siggy, congratulations, narrowly missing out there, but you will also be starting on the front row. How tough is tomorrow going to be in Berlin with Lucas alongside you?
I think it's going to be even tougher than today. I did a couple of mistakes in quali today, so couldn't really get the job done as I wanted to. But yeah, for Sunday, for tomorrow, it's just about preparing the start of the race really, and surviving turn one and turn 5 to be exact, I think. And yeah, it's just about having the pace until the end of lap 15 and winning it. I think that's one of the most important things to do.
Excellent. And a quick word, Joshua Rogers, I mean, how much of a challenge is tomorrow going to be for you? Obviously, you've got Muller and Siggy ahead of you.
Yeah, obviously it's going to be difficult. I haven't raced at Berlin yet, unlike these guys. So I guess I'll be on the back foot a little bit there, but we've been preparing hard along with the Jaguar Porsche Formula E guys. And yeah, look, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to be starting off, but I think that track being so wide, it's going to be really, really good for passing opportunities. So we should see some great racing, and fingers crossed we can get ourselves in the mix for the last round.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, guys. Right, let's go to our final race results.
So great to hear from our top three, and they will be very impressive. And this means that, well, no, I don't think that can be right with Lucas Muller taking the victory. But Kevin Siggy's certainly at the top of the championship standings there, and he will start on pole position for tomorrow's race. We'll try and get you the correct standings at some point. But we are, of course, here as well for a good cause in the form of Unicef.
We're expecting one child to die every 15 seconds in the next 6 months. 6,000 children a day in the next 6 months are likely to die as a result of the secondary impact of coronavirus, not being able to access health services that they would otherwise have available to them. A £10 donation or a $10 donation, that pays for more than 50 bars of soap. £30 is a whole kit of PPE to protect a health worker. Now that health worker is protected by that, but also every patient that they see is protected by that. Thank you so much for your support. Every pound, dollar, whatever that we manage to raise together is going exactly where we need it at the moment.
So there's a look at the Zoom call where all the drivers are on. Is Guenther asleep? Is Max Guenther having a little nap in there? Maybe. In the sort of bottom right, we've got Alexander Sims below him. Up in the top left is Kelvin van der Linde. Ma up in the top middle, just next to Oliver Turvey. Sam Bird on the top right. Brendan Hartley, as ever, wearing his hat in the middle of the night as we get ready for this next race to come up. And don't forget, we are here to contribute towards Unicef. Over 100,000 euros have been contributed so far during the course of the Race at Home challenge. So really, if you want to get involved, then there are links at the bottom of the stream wherever you're watching. And if you are watching on the TV, then you can go to FIAFormulaE.com/UNICEF and donate there as well. Now, you see these webcams. Many of these drivers have been streaming their races on the Formula E Race at Home Challenge adventure on Twitch, and some Twitch streamers, including Bateson87, the Two Angry Gamers, and Leah, have also been providing their own alternative commentaries. Plenty of ways to consume the racing. In case you knew, here's what you might have missed.
The world has been watching.
Go, go, go! Oh no!
We love it! We love this!
With 4 poles and a race win, Stoffel van Dorn leads the field.
Into the tight chicane. Oh, Van Dorn's had a massive crash, and it's Stoffel van Dorn to win round 6.
Wow, that took a long time to get here.
Right on his tail with 2 wins is Pascal Wehrlein.
It's a lights to flag win for Wehrlein. Wehrlein up into the lead of the championship.
Good man, my friend.
But let's not forget the other race winners.
Does he fancy a move? Yes, he does. Sends it up the inside. Max Guenther makes it 2 out of 2. And here comes Roland beating Van Dorn across the line to win round 5.
Who can emerge from the pack?
Wehrlein sends one in on Guenther. Van Dorn's in the wall. What was that? Big slide, and he's into second.
This is why we watch it.
Who will be the Formula E Race at Home Challenge winner?
Massive weekend ahead. Let's see who can do it.
And there's a bit of contact. Oh, he fancies it, and there he goes. Really good drive from Guenther.
It all comes down to this.
I'm quite sad it's coming to an end this weekend.
Round 7 of the ABB Formula E Race at Home Challenge is on the streets of Brooklyn, New York City, for the penultimate event of the season. My name is Jack Nichols. Alongside me is Indy 500 winner Dario Franchitti, 3-time Indy 500 winner Dario Franchitti, because 1 wasn't enough. And we are about to have the drivers go out in their from the real world and battle it out over this race. Very excited to see what happens. These are the championship points coming into this weekend. Well, these aren't quite correct because Pascal Wehrlein, of course, took that pole position. So he is now level on points with Stoffel van Dorn. Both have 105 at the top of the championship. Max Guenther could do with a big result today, but he hasn't qualified particularly well. But it's really Van Dorn and Wehrlein that are going to be the 2 to focus on. And it's worth noting that there are double points on offer tomorrow. So we are going to see how the grid is lined up. It is Wehrlein on pole position, and newcomer Kelvin van der Linde is in second on the grid, the South African driving for Audi. Third is Sebastian Buemi in the Nissan. Only 4th is Maximilian Guenther, but only 5th is the joint championship leader, Stoffel van Dorn, and he's got a lot of work to do. 6th is Oliver Rowland. 7th, Eduardo Mortara, with Nick de Vries completing the top 8. Behind the young Dutchman, we've got Sam Bird in 9th, Neil Jarni in 10th position, Felipe Massa in 11th spot, a couple of tenths adrift of Jarni. He's just ahead of the Porsche of Andre Lotterer, so the Porsche's in 10th and 12th spots. Then behind them, we have got Robin Freitz in 13th position, Antonio Felix da Costa 14th, Oliver Turvey in 15th. Then the first of the Panasonic Jaguar racing cars, James Collado, is in 16th position. He managed to out-qualify his teammate Mitch Evans. Ma starts in 18th position ahead of Alexander Sims, with Brendan Hartley completing the top 20. And then the final 2 rows on the grid, John-Eric Verne in 21st, Lucas de Grassi in 22nd, D'Ambrosio 23rd, and Joel Eriksson making his debut is 24th on the grid. So cars on the grid. Wehrlein on pole, Van der Linde alongside him, and we go green at home. Pretty slow start for Sebastian Buemi, so that could give Max Guenther in the BMW a position as they come into turn 1. Wehrlein hugs the inside line, Guenther's up the inside, they're 3 wide. Van Dorn's trying to fight his way through on Buemi. Is that going to end in tears? I think he's managed to do it, and he's up into 5th place. Roland, in fact, is up into 4th position, so Buemi has taken a big hit in all of that and dropped well down the order. Wehrlein leads, Van der Linde in 2nd place, Guenther 3rd, Roland 4th, Van Dorn in 5th. So it's Max Guenther of the title protagonists that has made the best getaway, but it is still Pascal Wehrlein, Dario Franchitti, that is out in the lead.
Yeah, absolutely, Jack. Stoffel Van Dorn's got to get past these cars quickly. Coming up in a second, turn 10 with the right-hand hairpin. He's got to make a move quickly to just get up onto the back bumper of Pascal Wehrlein. He doesn't quite manage it. Oh, he does. He's got to get 2 at once. Fabulous move. And in practice, just before the race started, both Pascal Wehrlein and Stoffel Van Dorn were mighty quick. And Van Dorn's in the wall, though. He's lost another spot, so gained 1 and lost 1. But their pace, Van Dorn and Wehrlein, was 3/10 ahead of the field, Jack. It all got a bit exciting there.
Yeah, it certainly did. Gained 2, lost 1, I think, wasn't it, in the end for Van Dorn there. So Oliver Roland now is up into 3rd place. It looked as though Van Dorn might have given a bit of a nudge to Max Guenther in that overtake. That's what opened the door down at the hairpin, but it's still Pascal Wehrlein leading and round. And there goes the Mercedes, and it's Nick de Vries. It's not Stoffel Van Dorn, it's de Vries who got spun and has dropped now all the way down to 12th, 13th position. Bird's been pincered into the wall. Someone else is facing backwards across the back straight, and it's chaos coming out of the dock loop. This is Max Guenther, though, running in 5th place ahead of Felipe Massa in 6th position. Wehrlein leading, Van der Linde 2nd, Roland 3rd, Van Dorn in 4th. Let's see what Stoffel can do, trying to close in on Roland in front of him, because they know they need to limit the damage, really, to Pascal Wehrlein out in front. This is what happened to Sebastian Buemi. He's in the first of the Nissans here. He gets sandwiched between the 2 championship leaders, and then does he get spun around here? Yes, he does. So he gets punted around, facing backwards, gets a massive hit from Lotterer. Oh, he had an upside-down car towards the back, and the classic Formula E start procedure is complete.
Yeah, I thought they'd got away with it, Jack. I was thinking, oh, nice and clean through turn 1, but then you just see them all crashing into each other. Sebastian Buemi was on the back foot from the moment he released the brake, jumped on the throttle at the start. He made a bad start, and from that point he was being defensive, and he was getting attacked really on all sides. But Pascal Wehrlein leading the race, he's not getting attacked at all. He's got a lovely 1.3 second lead on Kelvin van der Linde, Jack.
And I think that means Buemi is eliminated on the first driver to be eliminated in this race royale format. Lap 3 of 15 now. Buemi out. De Grassi will be the next driver eliminated unless he can get past Mar in the next couple of laps. And we're watching Stoffel Van Dorn now. And is he defending from Guenther behind, or is he passing Guenther? What's going on there? Van Dorn in 4th, Guenther in 5th, but they are right together, coming up towards the right-hander. They've been side by side here a couple of laps ago. We're on board with Van Dorn in the bottom right, but we're on board in the game with Max Guenther as they come out to start lap 4. Wehrlein's lead is 1.3 seconds. Roland in 3rd, Van Dorn in 4th, Guenther in 5th at the moment. Give a twitch down into turn 1 for Guenther. Van der Linde now 1.5 seconds back from Pascal Wehrlein. Roland in 3rd still. Van Dorn 4th. Felipe Massa having a good run in 6th place. His best result of the season so far for the Brazilian was, I'm just trying to find it.
Yeah, the first race,
opening
Jack,
round in Hong Kong. Yeah.
Wow. He's certainly improved today. When you watch the challenge grid, Jack, and you watch the way they race with each other, and you watch the driver's grid, and the lack of kind of respect that they show each other, they just, if it's a move that's half on, they just go for it, they just send it. And consequences be damned. And it's definitely a different attitude than you see on from the drivers in the challenge grid, the real sim racers who definitely take it, I think, more seriously. So you see Robin Freins in the Envision Virgin car ahead of Oliver Turvey using lots of curb through the turn 13 or 12-13 chicane.
On board with Turvey. Brakes at the 100-metre board. Robin Freins in front in 10th position, as you say. And then it is Da Costa in 9th spot. Wehrlein's lead now 2 seconds over Kelvin van der Linde in second place. Well, 1.7, 1.8 to be precise. We're on board with Wehrlein here, who has been very, very classy. And I've just been surprised. He'd never done any sim. He'd done sort of factory sim work, but never any sim racing until the lockdown came. He got his kit late, missed the first practice round, but was straight on the pace right away, which I found really impressive. And I find that really interesting, Dario, the way that some drivers, as Gianni and Da Costa go wheel to wheel, some drivers just get it and some drivers just don't get it. I find that really fascinating because there's no real world reason to say that Wehrlein is a much better driver than Lucas di Grassi, let's say, but he just gets the sim racing so much more instantly.
And that could be something, Jack, in the way these guys drive a car, the messages they like to receive from the car, because obviously there's no balance involved in driving a simulator, whereas in the real world it's a massive percentage. I would say 70% really about the balance. This is all about what you hear, what you see, and to a degree what you feel through the steering, but not really. But as you say, Pascal Wehrlein took to sim racing really like a duck to water, and I have to say I'm more of the Lucas di Grassi side and haven't managed to take to it at all. Wow, Da Costa replay into the hairpin and just pushes Neil Janney wide. Get out of the way, coming through.
Yeah, very robust there. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point actually on how drivers drive in the real world compared to the sim racing world. I can't remember if I had this discussion with you, but I remember, some drivers in real life hit marker boards every time or pick a point in the concrete to brake at, whereas some are a little bit more fluid and don't pick specific braking points, just sort of do it when it feels right. And I wonder if one or the other way there, as that's a robust lunge from Lotterer on Verne, I wonder if that works in the sim racing world as well.
I think the sim racing world is definitely more about markers, especially with the lack of depth perception you get. You look at these guys all through the Porsches going sideways in the chicane, tapping each other. Some teams and some engineers talk about closed loop drivers, ones that use markers, and open loop ones that just sort of freestyle a bit. It doesn't matter. It's all about how you get results at the end of the day. Well, look at the lunge from Jean-Eric Verne and Joel Eriksson. He was from about 3 miles back. That lunge started in Manhattan.
And round goes Lucas di Grassi. So the Audi driver is sent spinning. De Vries is already eliminated, as is Hartley and D'Ambrosio. And di Grassi now eliminated as well. Lotterer in 19th place then is going to be the next driver to be eliminated if it stays like this. Wehrlein's lead now 1.8 seconds up at the front. Well, nearly 2 seconds now to van der Linde in second place. Roland doing a good job. Van Dorn has pulled away from Guenther quite a lot actually in this race. I wonder whether Guenther picked up any damage, because he and Van Dorn were wheel banging quite a lot, hitting the wall at various points. So maybe Guenther has picked up a little bit of damage, and that's the reason he's not being able to keep as close to Stoffel Van Dorn as you might have expected, as we are on lap 8 of 15 now.
And I think it's a good time to say, Jack, that just because the cars look like they've got no damage doesn't mean they have, because the damage happens in the way the car handles. The car looks, but it will definitely handle like a wheelbarrow if you've hit the wall several times. And you see from the in-cars sometimes the drivers, the wheels all off to one side, and the drivers are really dealing with a lot of problems. But from the outside it looks normal. This is a great battle though, with the BST Cheetah, Da Costa up front, and Jean-Eric Verne at the back. This is one of Jean-Eric Verne's better sim races so far.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. We have got Da Costa at the front of this queue. Then it's Neil Janney. Then it's the man we're on board with here, Robin Freins. Then it is Oliver Turvey. Then Mitch Evans. Then Sims, Bird, Collado, Marr and Verne, all in that queue. Someone on the YouTube chat having a go at me, saying Kelvin van der Linde is a regular sim racer. Stop saying he's just started. Well, he's just started in Formula E. This is his first race in the Formula E Race at Home Challenge, but as Mr. Man on YouTube points out, he's been a very successful sim racer over the last few years, really. I feel like predominantly on iRacing, but here we're racing on R-Factor 2, and van der Linde is doing a very strong job up in second position. 7/10 of a second ahead of Oliver Rowland in second spot. Here is Robin Franks. We just saw him there in the inset, the man from Maastricht, and there is the van der Linde Rowland battle. Rowland closing in a little bit, I would say. The gap down to 6/10 of a second. We're on lap 9 of 15, and there is Rowland in the bottom right. Following behind him is Stoffel van Dorn, who, as I say, has pulled 2 seconds clear of Guenther in 5th place. Massa still holding on to his 6th position fairly comfortably, and then it's that Gianni Freitz, Turvey, Evans battle going on over the final points-paying positions as we go back on board with Oliver Rowland out onto the start-finish straight again to start lap 10 of 15, onto the brakes into turn 1 and the dock loop.
And we do get tyre degradation, Jack. It's probably not as big as you would get in real life. You can see the amount of lock that the drivers are using mid-corner and how hard they accelerate, but you do get tyre degradation, and some guys are better dealing with that than others, which is why I think you've seen the gaps, some gaps close up a little bit. If I was Kelvin van der Linde, I would be worried. Oliver Rowland, we talk about him quite a lot, being an aggressive driver. He's slowly closed that gap up, and he'll be ready to pounce. Don't forget that he won in Berlin in round 5 as well, so he's done a very good job throughout this series.
Yeah, not going to be totally out of title contention if it finishes like this, I don't think, but it would take a big swing in tomorrow afternoon's double points race if he were to win the title. Lap 10 of 15. He's now just 4/10 of a second behind van der Linde, although he just brushed the wall coming out of turn 11. So that slows him down a little bit. Through the final corner now and out onto the start-finish straight once more. The gap down to just under 3/10 of a second as they come into turn 1. Lap 11 and 15. Is Rowland going to fancy this in the last couple of laps?
We saw it in the challenge grid race, Jack, that some guys were quick through the tight section, 9-10 for instance, but they weren't so good in braking for turn 1. And turn 1's probably one of your best opportunities for a clean pass, so the gaps definitely ebb and flow throughout the lap.
How close he is now, tucked up behind the Audi. Down towards 9. Through the left-hander. And in towards turn 10, the hairpin right. Wehrlein still keeping his lead at 2.3 seconds.
And Stoffel van Dorn behind us, Jack, is starting to just close up a couple of tenths a lap, just a little bit. And you see that he's not got too far to go. It's possible that he can join this gap, and if one of the guys in front, van der Linde or Rowland, makes a mistake, he'll be joining. As you see a mistake made there, we'll see Stoffel van Dorn join that gap. It's all happening here. Oh, nearly 3 wide into turn 10 hairpin. Bit of a nudge from the Porsche, and then a nudge from the Jaguar behind. And then some defending on the way out as they come down to turn 10.
It was Freitz who went up the inside of Gianni. Gianni then lost out to Turvey, and then Evans tried to get past Gianni as they all shunted their way through turns 11. So it is now Robin Freitz up into 9th place, Oliver Turvey into 10th position. Out onto the start-finish straight again to start lap 12 of 15. Does Gianni fancy this one on Turvey? Thought about it. Turvey covers and holds the position. Goes in a little bit deep. Could give Gianni an opportunity around the outside. Isn't going to work out. Evans comes steaming in. Little bit of a nudge, but they get away with it for now.
Yeah, and Gianni takes the wide line thinking I'll get the cut back and accelerate better, and then he gets hit by the Jaguar of Mitch Evans. It's just going to... The aggression is just going to ramp up the more this race comes to the close. Another hit from Evans, but he manages to get it stopped, and the car behind him is probably hitting him too.
On board with Evans.
Who apparently drives in bare feet, so he can feel the pedals a bit better in the sim world, not in the real world. Oh, you do?
I'm a bare feet. Some people drive in socks, and I don't get it. It just feels slippery. I don't get the socks thing at all.
I've got sort of replica race car pedals on my sim, so I've got to push it so far hard, the pedal so hard that I need to put proper racing boots on. It's the only way I can get any kind of feel.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. But my pace isn't.
Roland still only 3/10 behind Kelvin van der Linde in the battle for second place. Lap 13 of 15, and he is so close.
Oliver Rowland's got to be careful here, Jack, because he doesn't want to take a penalty into tomorrow's race, because again, double points in tomorrow's race. So he's better to sit where he is in third, as he loses a bit of time out of the hairpin. But to take a 5 or a 10 place grid penalty for hurting Kelvin van der Linde in the closing stages today, that would be really a false economy. So hopefully he can stay calm enough, and he's going to play the long game if he wants to challenge at all for the championship, or to dethrone maybe Pascal Wehrlein in second place.
Yeah, it would be an extra 3 points if Roland were to get past van der Linde. 25 points for the win, 18 for second, 15 for third. Penultimate lap of the race now. Like you say, Dario, Van Dorn has closed in on them quite a lot, but I don't think he's quite going to join the fight. As we see Roland onto the back straight. Wehrlein's lead 2 seconds. Massa still running in 6th position. Costa is just ahead of Freins, and then it's that Turvey-Gianni battle. Freins has managed to get away from the Turvey-Gianni battle that he was embroiled in earlier on. And we're on board again with Roland. Into the left-hander.
Jack, Roland just hit Kelvin van der Linde in the turn 7 area, and that slowed them both down and allowed Stoffel Van Dorn to close that gap again. Look how close Van Dorn is now. It's going to be tough, though, to close that gap in one lap, to close the gap and then make the pass, though.
Here is Van Dorn. Wehrlein 2 seconds up the road from van der Linde still. He's going to take the lead of the championship into the final day. As we see Van Dorn coming to start the final lap of the race now. He's going to lose the lead of the championship. As they come into the left-hander. Will Roland fancy a look on this final lap of the race? There is Roland running in 3rd place. Van Dorn behind him in 4th. But it's all eyes really on Roland, but he's a little further away than he has been on previous laps. Like you say, he was close enough to nudge van der Linde. This time a lap ago. And
again, hit him again,
one,
Jack.
Yeah, that's the one that's going to open the door, maybe. A touring car-esque move from Oliver Roland down towards turn 9. Is there going to be a look at the chicane on this final lap? He's got a good run. Thinks about the dummy, goes to the outside. Van der Linde holds the inside. Gets the drive out. Surely Van der Linde's going to hold on to this. Down into turn 11. Roland goes for the dummy. The door closes. They're both in the wall. And Roland forces his way through. Up into 2nd position. Through the final 2 corners comes Pascal Wehrlein to win and take the lead of the ABB Formula E Race at Home Challenge. Great drive from Wehrlein, but it's Roland across the line in 2nd position. Van der Linde 3rd, Van Dorn in 4th, Guenther 5th. Felipe Massa's going to finish in 6th place, but that was I think that was, for me, that was just about okay from Roland. It was robust, but he got an overlap. He sold the dummy. I think it was all right.
I think he wouldn't do it in the real world, but in the sim world,
right.
Yeah, I think he's just to see some action at the end of the lap. I think it's okay. I'm sure that Kelvin van der Linde's not thinking that right now. If we see some synchronized crashing at the end there, but I mean, Stoffel Van Dorn got so close to it, but Pascal Wehrlein, Jack, serenely about his business again, and he set up a great finish for tomorrow.
Yeah, certainly has. So Wehrlein takes the advantage into tomorrow, but it's basically, because of the double points, the gaps between positions are bigger. So Wehrlein's going to have a 7-point lead, but it's a 14-point swing if you win the race compared to the driver in 2nd position, because you get 50 points for the win and 36 finishing in 2nd spot. So that's going to be really fascinating come the race tomorrow.
Still all to play for, absolutely.
Yeah. And Roland, with that move for 2nd place, Is he going to be in the mix as well? We'll have a look at the championship standings in a few moments' time. But first of all, of course, we'll hear from our race winner, Pascal Wehrlein. 2 German drivers, 2 Mahindra drivers, in fact, taking the wins over these 2 races. And Mahindra actually have a tree planting initiative. For every Twitch viewer on the Formula E Twitch this weekend, they are planting a tree. So if you're not watching on Twitch, get over and watch on Twitch, and Mahindra will plant a tree for you. So a really great initiative there from the Mahindra Formula E team, who are always looking for something a little bit different to do. But one thing they like to do is win. And that's what they have done in the 2 races today. So Lucas Muller in the challenge grid and Pascal Wehrlein in the drivers grid. And we can now join Nikki Shields, who is speaking to our main protagonists.
Well, congratulations, Pascal Wehrlein. That really does, I think, cement your position at the top of the standings. So really, it's everything to play for tomorrow with double points.
Yeah, it was a good race. I think it was one of the most difficult ones for me. I did a mistake in the beginning. I didn't see the starting lights because of the halo. I tried to switch the camera position, so it changed to like TV position. And then I couldn't change it back anymore. So the whole race I was driving with the wrong camera, and it was really hard. Like I was so happy I had a small gap and I could manage that gap. Otherwise, it would have been a very difficult race for me.
Oh, well done. Congratulations. You'll learn not to make that mistake tomorrow.
Sorry, say again.
I said you'll learn not to make that mistake tomorrow.
Yeah, I have to ask the guys because, like I said, I couldn't see the starting lights. So, we need to change something for tomorrow. Let's see what we can do.
All right. Well, luckily, it was the only mistake you made today. Congratulations. Oliver Rowland, 3rd podium on the bounce here. Well done. Brilliant battle there with Kelvin van der Linde.
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, it was important to stay out of trouble at the start. And then, I was able to slowly chip away and catch up to him. And in the last lap, to be honest, I actually tried to dummy him a little bit. I went to the outside, then to the inside, and I wasn't sure if I could make it. And in the end, I kind of outbraked myself, so I made it. But it was a good race, and I enjoyed it. And well done to Pascal and Kelvin.
Brilliant, thanks very much. And Kelvin, well, welcome. This is certainly the way to make an entrance into this challenge, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I was really excited when Audi gave me the call and said I got to jump in last minute. Had a lot of work to do, obviously, to get up to the speed of these guys that have been driving the last few weeks. Obviously the practice paid off. I was actually more worried. I wasn't expecting the podium at all, so I had to go and run and dig in one of my brother's old podium caps to get my Michelin hat. So I managed to find that one for the podium selfie just now.
Brilliant. Well, we look forward to seeing that selfie on social media afterwards. Kelvin, thanks very much. Oliver and Pascal Wehrlein. Right, let's take a little look at the final race classifications.
We got another bit of double Rowland, didn't we? Just a little flash before the interview started. We had double Rowland last week, double Rowland this week. Love it. So here's a look at the results after round 7 of the ABB Formula E Race at Home Challenge. Pascal Wehrlein, the winner. 3.6 seconds ahead of Oliver Rowland, despite being stuck in the wrong view for the whole time. Kelvin van der Linde in 3rd position, Stoffel van Dorn in 4th, Max Guenther in 5th, Mitch Evans completing the top 12 that managed to avoid elimination. And how does that affect the championship standings? Well, Pascal Wehrlein is at the top, and he is now a very impressive 22 points ahead of Stoffel van Dorn. It's a 17-point swing for a win. A 14-point swing for a win tomorrow. So it's all going to come down to tomorrow, isn't it? Wehrlein is in a very strong position, but there's a huge amount of points available for tomorrow afternoon. Make sure you join us then, because that will be the grand finale of the ABB Formula E Race at Home Challenge. Pascal Wehrlein will arrive as the championship leader ahead of Stoffel van Dorn in 2nd.
Well, there we have it. Pascal Wehrlein with a 22-point lead. A brilliant position to be in. But as Jack just mentioned, with double points, there is still everything to play for. Dario, let's quickly, if you can, recap. I mean, we thought it was going to be a clean race. And then poor old Sebastian Buemi got caught up and went straight to the back of the race. But quickly summarize the driver race for us. You might be muted, Dario. I can't hear you. Or maybe it's me just being hard of hearing again. Hey,
No,
there he is.
Sorry about that,
there's
guys. Yeah,
those
Buemi, absolutely. I thought everybody's got through turn one. Fantastic. Not quite. They didn't quite make turn two. Then it all broke loose. But Pascal Wehrlein, I mean, to be in the wrong camera angle and still win the race was absolutely mighty. Felipe Massa, P6. Quite impressed with that. That was one for the more mature racing drivers, shall we say. Really, that was a nice one to see. Oliver Rowland kept it to the last lap, nearly the last corner, the last overtaking opportunity, really, when he passed Kelvin van der Linde. An aggressive, but I think just on the right side move. And yeah, another good race. Sets up for a big, big fight tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to predict what's going to happen tomorrow. But Luke, quickly talk to us about the challenge race. Lucas Müller there, absolutely solid performance from him.
Oh, huge performance. I think that's the big talking point, is that Lucas Müller's got one over on someone so dominant as Kevin Siggy over this championship here. And actually, I'm going to bring Dario in on this because I can't really speak on it. Dario, multiple-time champion in IndyCar. Like, have you ever got to a point in a championship where you're leading and then you get beat by a competitor near the end of the championship? And does that have a psychological effect on you?
Yeah, you've got to be strong in times like that. Absolutely. I had some good battles with Will Power over the years when we had that going on. And luckily, I was able to come out and top most of those. But you've got to be strong. And again, coming down to tomorrow for them, it's the winner takes all. Now, Lucas Müller said something. I wrote it down. I don't care to finish second, I think was what he said. I thought, all right, fasten your seatbelts for tomorrow. I think I might wear a helmet in the comms booth. Fantastic line.
Fighting talk from him, but I mean, gosh, it is going to be a lot of pressure on those drivers because, you know, it really is all or nothing tomorrow for that challenge grid. Now, just a little reminder, if you have enjoyed all of this action, then please do donate because, of course, just a small amount can help provide that important medical equipment for health workers during this essential time because we are doing this all in aid of Unicef. Now it's time for us to catch up with Porsche's racing driver, Neil Jarni. Hopefully he's ready to chat to us to talk about his race. I think he had a pretty good qualifying, but the race was a bit of a tough one, I think. Neil, how are you doing?
Hi, very well, and you?
Yeah, we're very good, thank you. Now, it looked like a great qualifying. I think you qualified in 6th, but what happened a little bit later on, and what was that move with Antonio Felix da Costa all about?
Yeah, I qualified 6th and I had a 5-grid penalty, so I had to start 10th in the end. And then, yeah, good start, moved up a bit, and Felix was behind me, but he kept running into me, and my car was completely broken in the end. Like, my steering wheel was crooked and everything. So I just got slower and slower, and yeah, I just tried to defend what I can. So let's hope he gets a 5-grid penalty this time for breaking a car.
Ooh.
Neil, it's Dario here. Let's talk about real world for a second. I mean, you've raced, I think, every type of car, pretty much, and you've won in almost all of them. Why has Formula E proved such a tough nut to crack for you so far?
Yeah, Formula E is very different. We've had 4 race weekends, and to be honest, on 2 of them I should have been in the points, but you know yourself, the should-haves and could-haves are used words in racing that we use a lot, but they don't bring the results, no? And yeah, so that was a bit unlucky, and then I would say the story would look a little bit different for the moment, but yeah, let's hope we get some more races end of this year.
Yeah, absolutely. We're keeping our fingers crossed for announcements soon. Now, just quickly explain to us, I mean, what is it like when, you know, you're sitting at home, I don't know if you're in your living room, your bedroom, wherever you are, and you obviously got an on-track battle going on in the virtual world. How does that compare, like, on your sort of senses to what you're experiencing to an on-track battle in the real world?
It is quite a bit different. First of all, you know, you need to get used to the sim. You need to get used to what can you do, what can you not do. As in the battles, you know, what can you do? How can you lean on a car? It is a bit different. Although we can anyway say Formula E is known as a contact sport. I've experienced, unlike many other championships, and that's how it is also here online in the virtual world.
The frustration level's much bigger, isn't it?
Sorry?
The frustration level on the simulator is much bigger.
Yeah, because the thing is, in theory, you could hit escape and restart, no? And when you train for a track, and I'm sure, Dara, you have seen it with your e-racing on the race, you train, then you have escape, okay, new set of tires. You have to try and try and try until you figure out, okay, what does it need, what does it not need? And it's just a learning process. You have to add the things together. It's not necessarily just feeling, because that is very hard to get on the simulator.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Neil, looking into your crystal ball, predictions, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow when it comes down to this competition fight?
Oh, well, let's see what weather they bring. They might bring suddenly crazy weather, or who knows. I think that's the first thing. But overall, yeah, I think we have the top three, which are very quick, with Stoffel, Pascal, and Max. And afterwards, there is kind of a gap. You know, that's where I want to slot in, and then hopefully I can get some good double points tomorrow.
Absolutely, no penalties. You'll be fighting at the top.
Yeah, no penalties tomorrow.
All right, thanks very much, Neil. We'll see you tomorrow. Get a good night's sleep.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. You too. Ciao.
Thanks. Oh, there we go. Always good to chat to Neil Jarni. Been brilliant to watch him sort of start in the world of Formula E racing for Porsche. Now we're going to have a look at some of the replays. Let's take a look at that move that Oliver Wehrlein made.
You can see it going defensive, and if Roland cuts back into the side of Van der Linde. Yeah, I mean, aggressive, but no, there was nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's a penalty involved in that one at all. Luke, what do you think? I thought from a real world side that was fine. What do you think from a sim racing side?
Yeah, I don't think there's too much wrong with that. I think it's an exceptional move, if anything. Like, it's right on the limit of being a little bit naughty, but he sold the dummy really well, just like Jack said, and got the job done. Kelvin, if he was really annoyed with that, he would have mentioned that in the interview at the end of the race. No problem whatsoever. But yeah, again, I agree with you. I think it was a fantastic move.
I love the fact he waited until the last chance. That way, Van der Linde could not retaliate in the next lap or the next corner. So very calculating by Oliver Rowland. Cracking move.
It's been brilliant to see how Oliver Rowland's really come into it in the last few races. But I did also love that big smile on Kelvin's face at the end. I think to see him on the podium was brilliant. Now let's take a look at Stoffel van Dorn's start and see what we think of that.
Gone to the outside, and he's probably thinking, uh-oh, I've got to cut back in a minute. Let's see if he gets pushed into the wall. Yep, there you go. Yeah, he got pushed into the wall, really, by Sebastian Buemi, and Buemi's probably thinking, oh, he just took me out. But really, they were side by side, and there was nowhere for Stoffel van Dorn to go at that point. So a bit of a harsh penalty for Sebastian Buemi, but you have to say, I would be wrong to penalise Stoffel van Dorn for that, I think, because it wasn't just a blatant wiping somebody out of the race. But then we saw the carnage behind, we saw the car upside down afterwards and everything, and that was it. So we've kept up our 100% record of a big crash at the first couple of corners.
I know. Maybe we'll have a clean start in tomorrow's race. Who knows?
Don't think so.
Yeah, all right, okay. Don't put any bets on it anyway. Right, so Luke, let's have a quick chat about the challenge grid, and we'll have a replay of Chembolok Bassi's move.
So Alistair Irvine, who's been one of the best defensive drivers there are, probably just made a late move there into the braking zone, and I don't know what Dario would say on that, but I feel like he's moved far too late there for Cem to be able to react, and that's where the contact indeed has happened. But Cem just took full advantage. He's one of the best esports drivers around the world, that's for sure, right now. And again, you never stare a gift horse in the mouth. You're going to take every opportunity possible. So what would you say there, Dario?
Yeah, that one was a bit more aggressive, I think, and the fact that they just kept pushing him as well. But Alistair Irvine, his defensive skills over the last 3 weeks have amazed me, and that was actually, I think, the first mistake he actually made. And we saw the result. He put himself in a position to be taken out. So probably slightly more aggressive than the Oliver Rowland incident that we saw a minute ago.
Now, unfortunately, I know we keep saying it, but the Race of Home Challenge is almost coming to an end. But while we are waiting for racing to start for real, there is actually a little bit of Formula E action that you can watch at home, because the film, our new film called And We Go Green, has finally been released, made by Fisher Stevens, a big Hollywood producer, actually also one of the producers of Tiger King. And well, here's a little taster if you haven't seen it already.
And we go green in Hong Kong, green in New York City, green in Rome. It's a good start in Marrakesh.
I'm not an environmentalist, I'm a racing man, but I do worry about the environment. So if I can put both together, fantastic.
The only thing that I need to do here is win a championship.
Buemi hits the Grassi. What kind of is this mother? John-Eric Verne, the Parisian wins in Paris.
Well, there we go. Just a little taster to whet your appetite. Now, I think on the UK, it's on Channel 4 that you can watch at the moment. But if you just go to the Formula E website, you can check which platforms it's streaming on or where you can watch it from where you are. Dario, it was pretty cool, wasn't it, to have the kind of the Hollywood gang up and down the pit lane filming you. Well, they filmed you actually quite a lot. What was it like to work with them?
It was really cool. You know, when Fisher Stevens and those guys came in and said, "I want to talk to you about it because you're old and you've got a lot of experience in racing." And I thought it was going to be a puff piece. Honestly, thought it was going to be, oh yeah, it's all great. And it wasn't that at all. It's like, I want all the dirt. I want you to tell the real stories. And everybody he talked to was the same thing. So you get the real insight of Formula E from day one. And I think it's a great insight into something that started in the world of motor racing as kind of something people laughed at. And look at it now, and it's that journey. So a lot of fun to be involved in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is amazing to see, proper behind the scenes action. He really did get some kind of exclusive footage and just unfolding the personalities of, the likes of Jean-Eric Verne and Sam Bird, who you never really get to know. But yeah, brilliant watch. So would highly, highly recommend it. Guys, it's time to nearly finish up the show. So I'm going to say a massive thank you to you, Luke, Dario, and of course, Jack Nichols. And thank you so much to all of our drivers for giving up all their time and effort for such a great cause. A little reminder, of course, to donate if you can. Now, also a reminder to get into the Race, Donate, Nominate Challenge. You're not going to believe this. Well, I didn't believe this, but our CEO, Jamie Regal, did it 2.4 kilometers in just over 8 minutes, which I think is pretty good for a guy in the over 40s category. If I'm not here tomorrow, you know why. Now, I'm going to run the New York track right now. I think it's about 2.3 kilometers, maybe a little bit shorter. Anyway, good luck if you do it, and do remember to nominate. We'll be back tomorrow for the grand final. Get ready to pop that champagne because it's time to find out. We will see tomorrow who the winner is.